Welcome back to the Pitch Pod. My name is Joe Janner. With me, my co-host, Jeff Stebbins. Jeff, how you doing out there?
I'm doing pretty good, Joe. I'm happy it's Friday, so yeah, doing okay.
Good, yeah. Thank something. It's Friday. Here we are on the Pitch Pod. Excited to what do we get into? Champions League? Did you say Champions League?
Champions League, that's correct. Yep, it's that time of year, Joe.
And with the Pitch Pod, we're excited about that. I think mostly because it's, again, you get the best of the best opportunity to see what all these different clubs from the respective domestic leagues bring to the international competition of clubs. And the Champions League is the top as far as that goes. So I think we're excited to look. Now, we did reference Group F before. So here we are. We're going to look into PSG versus Dortmund. Any initial thoughts on the contest? Looking at where they are, what's going on? Anything? What's your first thought when you hear PSG versus Dortmund to kick off Champions League this campaign?
Well, I think just to sum up, what you just said, and I mean, two legendary clubs, like you said, best of the best going at it. So coming from different leagues, so that's what makes the Champions League so excited is the level of competition and the mixing of different leagues, top teams from different leagues. So yeah, I think you nailed it. And I'm super excited to see these two legendary clubs face off.
And maybe worth also adding, seeing top international players get a chance to play other top international players in this contest, I think is also something to get excited about. I mean, if we just get right to PSG and talk about Mbappe, right, that's enough to get most people interested in seeing how a team with Mbappe will do in this contest, right? Given he's selected for the 25-man roster for Champions League. I wonder if that's kind of an indication that he's set to stay or could things happen? Where are we with Mbappe staying in PSG?
I think it's to be determined, and we'll see long term. But for now, he's staying for now, as far as we know. And he's definitely had offers. I hear offers up to $1 billion for certain leagues. So it's kind of neat that he's showing that he's not necessarily just motivated by the money aspect. He's motivated by the game aspect. So that's kind of cool to see. And whether or not he ends up getting transferred at some point here in the near future, that's to be determined. But as of now, he seems pretty dedicated to PSG.
Dedicated to PSG, scoring goals. I mean, you got to look at that side. I mean, whomever they're set to face, it's always going to be a threat there. We talked about it before when we were looking back at his performance within the World Cup, but then prior to that, and then now in the Champions League, another opportunity to continue for him to build his resume and continue to show the impact, the level of player he is. I mean, we top five, if not one of the top players in the world right now. So
Yeah.
exciting to have him featuring a PSG to play Dortmund in this upcoming Champions League, Matt. Do we want to flip to the other side? I mean, Dortmund, I'm looking at the unbeaten as of right now, but sitting middle of the table in the Bundesliga, set to play Freiburg upcoming. But again, that's a match there. Their selection has already been put into place. Where do you see? I mean, how do you see them doing here in this contest?
Well, yeah, BVD. They're just such a solid team, and I guess you could say maybe make the case that both of these teams are kind of rebuilding a little bit. But I still really like BVD, and they have some great players, including the American Gio Reyna, and I'm really impressed with what he's been doing over there. So I'm super excited for this matchup. What are your takes on Dortmund, Joe?
I think it's just that. I mean, some regular players that have been featured over the last couple of years. I mean, they've had some consistency in terms of personnel. I think it's fair to say that they're always looking. I mean, it was disappointing for them not to win the league last year in the manner they did. I think it came down to the last game, whatnot. But yeah, I think you mentioned it. Us here in the States always looking to see how those players perform in the European leagues with Gio Reyna selected again to be a part of Dortmund for the Champions League. I think it'll be exciting to see how he's utilized, how he performs, and what kind of impact he has for the side to see if he can help them get further past this group stage. I mean, we mentioned it. Dortmund, PSG, we'll talk about Milan, Newcastle in this group. and how, I mean, it could be either of the four. But yes, we're focusing on PSG versus Dortmund. Looking forward to seeing how these two sides match up in this upcoming Champions League game.
That's right. Yeah. I think I'm ready for predictions, Joe. If you are, why don't you go ahead and lead it off?
I think, all of it said, could we go on record saying that more than likely Mbappe scores in this? So there's one for PSG, right? I mean, could we just go on record? At least I'm saying that's fairly in line with probably what could transpire in the game. Now, is one goal going to be enough? I don't think so. I think that they're going to have to show that they have the ability to score a couple goals to win this one. And I see just that. I see them scoring a couple goals, Dortmund scoring one. So I have PSG winning 2-1 to kick off this Champions League contest.
Okay. Okay. Very good. Yeah, I could definitely see that happening. I think Mbappe is definitely going to be involved in every play and definitely a threat. He's so quick, so fast. He knows what runs to make. So that makes sense to me, and I could see that playing out. I'm going to go with PSG winning this, but I think it's going to be a little bit closer of the game. I'm going to go PSG 1-0.
So both looking at PSG again, beginning this Champions League campaign with the win. I think in this tournament style football, you are going to always look to try to get on the pitch, try to go and get a win to start. I mean, that's where you want to position, get yourself to 3 points, see how the other matches fare, and keep on winning and get through the group. I think that's the objective for all these teams. Like we said, though, it's going to be tough. All four, I think, are suited to get through. I don't think we've gone as far as making a prediction of the two that go, but I think at least in this contest, it sounds like the pitch pod has a consensus that PSG wins this first match.
Put it down. PSG's going to win this one. And hopefully everyone out there gets a chance to tune in. It's going to be super exciting. I know Joe and myself are going to watch. And until next time, everyone.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. If you like what we bring you here at the Pitch Pod, please do us a favor, hit that like and that subscribe. Don't forget, we're available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. Thank you, everyone, and keep pitching out there.
In a game, the round ball, round posts, anything can happen.